So I'm going to be using the AMD quad core black 3.9 gigahertz. This can be boosted to 4.2 with the motherboard that I'm using. And the motherboard is the Asus A85V Pro. This is an overclocking board, so you can practically overclock everything on the board. So we'll get these unboxed, we'll get the processor installed, and we'll go from there. So just to quickly go through the box contents, we have the user guide and the quick start guide, the drivers for the board, several cables, the back plate, the board itself, and some of the quick plugs. So before I install anything, we need to remove these two black plastic pieces. These aren't going to be used because the water block doesn't need them. These are actually mount points for a heat sink if you're using the big aluminium heat sink with the fan on the top, which we're not, so they can be removed and discarded or kept. And then we can fit the processor and fit the water block. Okay, so now this is unscrewed, just remove these, and don't forget to remove the back plate, which just drops out. Now, before we fit the new back plate and mounts, in the bag of fittings you get two types of these M4 screws. They depend on which processor you're fitting. So I need the larger ones, so the four smaller ones can be discarded. So taking the back plate, I'm going to have to line this up. So I've got the back plate lined up. Now there are 4 nylon washers that have to be in place. So do not over tighten these, you may crack your motherboard. Just finger tight. that's that. Now we're going to fit the processor in. So fitting processor is really easy. There's a small metal bar that lifts. Lift that. Now there's a small arrow on the housing and a small arrow actually on the processor. Line these up and it just drops in. Push the bar back down and that's locked into place. This is thermal compound. Now this needs a quick wipe over with some alcohol first, just to get rid of any grease. So this has had a quick wipe down. Now a lot of people make the mistake of using too much of this thermal compound. It actually only requires a small amount. So if it's gonna just put a couple of lines on. Doesn't need a lot. Take an old credit card, or this is my old library card. So using your card, just draw it slowly across the processor, spreading the thermal paste all the way across the processor. You can go both ways just to get a good coverage. Be careful not to get any of this thermal paste actually on your motherboard. That corner. And that's that done. I'm just going to give it a quick wipe along the sides just to wipe off any excess that's there. And we're ready for the actual water block to be fitted. Now before I fit the block, I'm going to fit the tube fittings that I need to do. These are just a standard compression fitting. They come with a rubber O-ring, so these just screw in. Now these need to be, again, finger tight plus a quarter turn, just to make sure that the seal's good on them. That's it. So this is the inlet, that's the outlet. Depending where your water tank and other things are going to be, will depend which way around you put this. So that just slides on. There are 4 compression springs, one for each of the screws, and there are 4 of these tops. Don't just tighten them down one at tighten that one, then that one. Actually go around. This will stop you getting a lot of pressure on one point until it's completely screwed down. That again can crack your motherboard. Screw them down until they stop. And that's done. They can go back on. And the motherboard's now ready to go into the case. So I've mounted the motherboard to the side panel. I've also fitted the rear plate for the motherboard, and all this, and it's been screwed to the case itself. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.